all the above, and who's to blame for the oil crisis, and what the heck we're going to do about it. We get back to the show, Michael Brune. He's executive director at the Sierra Club, and we welcome for the first time Bruce Vincent. He's the president of Swift Energy and chairman of the Independent Petroleum Association of America. Bruce, let me begin with you. When you hear Mr. Obama say all the above, he says all of it: oil, gas, wind, solar, nuclear, biofuels, and more. Now, I know he's not doing it as fast and as clear as you want him to do it. But hasn't he moved? Isn't he, in effect, operating now a Republican policy?
Oh, not at all. He says the words, but we need to see words turned into actions. If you look at the actual actions over the last 3+ years of administration, they've been anything but all of the above. They've been the most detrimental and harmful to the oil and natural gas industry in this country that we've seen for decades. This industry has been able to grow production in this country that he now wants to take credit for, but we've been able to do that on private lands and state lands, whereas production in federal lands has actually declined.
All right, let's stay with this, though. Michael Brune, by the way, welcome back, buddy, because here's a key paragraph from the speech. He says a record number of oil rigs are operating right now, more oil and gas rigs than the rest of the world combined. And then he says over the past 3 years, we've approved dozens of new pipelines, including Canada. I'm not sure what he's talking about. He sure did approve the Keystone Pipeline. But then he goes on to say we've opened millions of acres for oil and gas exploration. Now, that sounds pretty Republican-esque to me, and all of the above. I know it's not going to be perfect. I get what Bruce is saying. But, Michael Brune, from your lights, from your standpoint, has Obama shifted from his early days as a pro-green, clean energy guy now towards more of an oil and gas producing guy?
No, I think that what you see is the president pursuing a variety of different strategies, focusing on both the short-term, mid-term, and long-term. And from the Sierra Club's perspective, we like most of the above, all of the above strategies. You know, what the president has done, Bruce wants to see results. What the president has done just in the last few months in proposing a new car standard that would save more oil than we could pump through the Keystone Pipeline over 45 years. That's results that'll pay off for the long term for the American public. What we also want to see is a true doubling down on clean energy so that we don't come into this situation again and again and again and again where we're held hostage because of our dependence on oil. So there's a lot that we like about the president's plan. And, you know, of course, there are a few things that we want to criticize, but overall, we think that the president has a smart and aggressive long-term approach to get ourselves off of oil.
But, Bruce Vincent, I understand the slow walking permits, I understand the slow leasing, I understand the federal lands thing is not going near as fast as it ought to be. I accept all that. But let me ask you, if we had even more aggressive drilling and production and leasing and permitting and all the things that you want, would that have any different impact on today's $108 oil price and today's $3.60 whatever cents gasoline price? In other words, near term, would any of this change, or is there another factor developing?
No, short run, that's not going to make a difference, but long run, it will. You know, for some time now, we've heard politicians talk about, well, it takes 10 years to do that, so why start? Well, they were saying that 10 years ago. If you don't ever start a process, you never get there. You know, our industry has been supportive of an all-of-the-above strategy for a long time, and we appreciate the president articulating that. We need to now see his words, though, turned into actions, the behavior that actually gets us.
Larry, I want to take a moment here just to half agree with what Bruce is saying. You know, the best way to tell the future is to look at what investments we're making in infrastructure today. If we want a future a decade from now where we are as dependent on oil as we are today, and the economy is held hostage by our dependence on oil, then we should do exactly what Bruce has said. We should drill, and we should keep on drilling.
But that's what President Obama is saying. My point is, Michael Brune, that is what President Obama is saying. This guy has changed his tune. Now, I want to get to Iran in a minute, but he's a different guy than he was back in 2009, maybe even 2010. And I know the public lands, the federal lands, have not moved as fast, but we're in the midst of an oil boom. And I guess what I would say, Bruce Vincent, isn't the president reacting to the politics of this? He doesn't want motorists and consumers to blame him for $4 gasoline at the pump or $5 gasoline. And therefore, aren't our drilling policies more liberal, if you will, than they once were?
Well, sure, he's reacting to the politics, and politicians often do. But if that's what helps get this country in the right direction to open up federal lands, give the industry access to develop both the natural gas resources, help move some of our transportation dependence, which is we're very vulnerable on because of the dependence on liquid petroleum. 99% of our transportation comes from liquid petroleum. We believe natural gas can be a terrific alternative for that. We support electric cars, but you're going to need natural gas to create the electricity to power those cars as well. If politics help direct us in the right direction for policy, then that's great.
Right. I think
if politics are just there because of the upcoming election, then that's a different situation.
Well, okay, we'll see. You know, we're not open in Alaska. We're not open yet in the Arctic. But, of course, the shale boom is the biggest news. Now, Michael Brune, isn't the real culprit here Iran? That the traders are taking large net long positions, okay? We went through the numbers today. Back in October, according to the CFTC, traders were 181,000 contracts long. Now they're 281,000. Everybody's talking about the saber rattling for the Strait of Hormuz. That's really what's driving energy prices right now. We have a lot of supply, but there's worries about a shortage. Isn't that the case? Nothing would change that in the short run, Michael. We're just stuck with this Iranian problem until our government does something about Iran.
That's why drilling won't make an impact on gas prices. It won't make an impact for this week, this month, or even this year or the next couple of years. We operate on a global market. Like it or not, we cannot drill our way out of this gas crisis. We can't drill our way out of the next gas price. The only way to avoid this situation from repeating itself again and again in the future is to have a more aggressive, prudent, plausible plan to reduce our dependence on oil.
But Bruce Vincent, I'll give you the last word. If we built the Keystone Pipeline, if we had drill everywhere, if we got rid of the EPA nuisance, don't we have a real chance, the United States and Canada, to develop North American energy independence, Bruce? Isn't that actually in the cards? Let's put the Iran thing aside for the moment. Basically, aren't we within sighting vision now of independence because of this miracle and energy revolution for shale fracking?
Absolutely. You're always going to have the political risk premium, but the United States can do a lot about it for its own sake and its own national security. There are several firms, one of which, Goldman Sachs, actually projects that by 2017, the United States could actually be the largest producer of oil in the world, surpassing Saudi Arabia, surpassing Russia. And the reason for that is this shale boom in the United States, allowing the industry to get access, allowing the industry to move forward under appropriate regulation, not burdensome regulation, and we can grow production. And as we grow production...
Larry and Bruce, what's the cost of that? What's the risk to our climate? What's the risk to our watershed?
I can't go down that road tonight. I just want to establish, we almost had common ground on Mr. Obama marching towards Republican energy policy. We're almost gone there. Thank you, gentlemen. Michael Brune, I appreciate it. Bruce Vincent. Now, the next question